Countdown?
Yeah. I'm lying about the time. We'll start when we start.
What does that mean? Get ready?
In 5 minutes.
She says she's lying about the time.
Yeah, I can start whenever.
We have to improve that timing because
Well, I mean, once I have the things like kind of set up the way I want to.
Everything blew out, Dad. You gotta give her a second to get it all working in motion. That sucks. Half the studio got fucked over. It'd be nice if you return half of it with the new ones.
right only for watching.
Well, that's because nothing's going on.
Yeah.
It says check your audio is on. Is your audio on?
All right. Are we on now? Snooks, thanks for always having my back. So we're gonna restart that whole like spiel basically. All right. I hit the Snooks, thanks for letting us know that there was no audio. I hit the unmute button on my Stream Deck, but evidently that didn't link up to the Roadcaster. So let's start that over again, guys. Hey there, guys, and welcome to the Polish American Brotherhood. We have a fantastic show lined up for you tonight. And we have some exciting news coming to you from the state of Florida, where Ron DeSantis has announced that he is running for the president of the United States. So that is great news coming out of our state. He had an address earlier that was made on the Twitter space. So we're going to be covering that throughout this evening as well. But what has made this show extra special, first time in studio joining us, is actually my younger brother. So Mark, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Mark. I'll be 35 in August. They asked me to stop by, give my opinion on things today, so I figured I'd go ahead and do that.
Mark's actually one of the funniest guys I know. I'm not just saying that because he's my brother. And so at first he was like nervous to be coming onto the podcast because he's like, oh, I'm not really educated on the issues. Well, I mean, part of the experience is also becoming educated on the issues, but also like having like just sharing your opinion. Mark actually has pretty unique opinions. So thanks, Mark, for joining us on today's show.
Thank you for having me.
And then also my usual co-host, my father, Mary, and Dad. Thanks for always being there and supporting me. And welcome back onto the show.
Thank you, Tara. Glad to be here and say my opinion about it. Welcome, my friends, to Polish American Brotherhood. And hope you can enjoy Tara's show.
Fantastic. Okay, so we are going to be continuing our fundraiser also on this episode of the Polish American Brotherhood for Baby Fadi. So Baby Fadi was born 6 months old. He was born with a deviation to his retina, which causes extra vision, blurriness, and double vision. And so if this goes left untreated, it can cause harm to the development of depth perception. And that's the ability to be seeing the world in 3D. And that's formative during the first like 3 years. That's when you see like babies testing out like the distance when they're stepping forward and seeing how, making sure they don't fall into that hole. But also more seriously is that if this condition is left untreated, it can result in permanent loss of vision if it's not treated by a young age in childhood. So we are continuing our fundraising efforts for Baby Fadi. We have already raised $710 out of the $1,000 necessary to get him this surgery. So please continue to support this effort to get Baby Fadi the surgery that he needs. Let's make it all the way to 1,000 so we can get him that surgery. That's the cost of the surgery. For $1,000, we'll be saving a child's eyesight, and so that way he can see the world as beautifully as he's supposed to. So please continue with that effort. All right. So Dad, I'll kick it off to you for the start of the show. So what are some of the pressing issues in Florida that you'd like to discuss, and also how do you feel about Ron DeSantis announcing his his bid for president?
Well, DeSantis, he's a great man. He's good, outspoken person, and I think I like him to be a president, but still I supporting right now President Trump. And if President Trump didn't run, probably DeSantis would be the right candidate. But even President Trump gonna run, I think that DeSantis is a young person, young man, that he still have a time to be future our president. So I supporting DeSantis, yes.
And Mark, being all of us being pretty much lifelong Floridians, what are your thoughts on Governor DeSantis running for the presidency?
I actually really like DeSantis. I'm not going to say I know everything he's done or hasn't done or every decision he's made, but as far as everything I have seen, I do actually really like the guy. in a way, he kind of seems like a little bit more of a politically correct Trump in my eyes, but we'll see.
What do you mean that he's more of a politically correct Trump?
I feel like people, there's a stigma with Trump that he's not well spoken or he doesn't know how to communicate things properly to a lot of people. Some people really love everything he has to say. So I don't know. I just feel like I have heard Trump to an extent say some things that I feel like could have been communicated better, but DeSantis seems a little bit more, I guess, in a way. I don't know the word for it right now. Can't come to my mind.
Well, in my opinion, America needs a president who will be more cooperative between Democrats and Republicans. That's what we need, the unity between those two parties. Whoever gonna win have to cooperate with the other parties, not only the criticizers or fighting each other. We need America strong. We need America great. And that's why we need a president who got to be very politically correct. That means he can work with both parties, not only with one, but both parties.
Do you think that the people have said that if Trump himself said during the CNN town hall that if he were president at the time, we wouldn't see Russia invading Ukraine. What are your thoughts on that?
Trump is more, I think, pro-American. He doesn't want problem outside the country in that America can be involved. But America, it is also responsible for the whole world because it's the strongest country in the world and goes internationally. We actually building the global international things because we have the international language and we have to watch what the other country is doing. And that's why we need a president who also, when he's going to be a president of United States, he also have to watch not only for America, but also have to watch for the other countries which probably need to learn from America how to, you know, be progressive and more civilized.
Well, I definitely think that Trump is a bulldog. That's the type of person a lot of Americans want to be seeing in office. That's not going to be catering down to the bullies, basically. But there are a lot of good things also about DeSantis that I like that he's done with managing Florida, specifically with like keeping CRT out of our schools, the curriculum. There's a lot of propaganda that has been said about him from the mainstream, like media, especially. For example, like how it was nicknamed the "Don't Say Gay" bill, when it was just about not teaching children sexualities in the schools. So there was a misnomer by leftists, basically labeling it as the "Don't Say Gay" bill. And I like, we're living in clown world when basically the NAACP, like they had issued a travel advisory for people to be traveling to Florida, saying it's unsafe. What are your thoughts of that, Mark? That they're actually saying it's unsafe for people of color to be traveling to the state of Florida.
I wasn't aware of that. Um,
It's crazy though, right?
so what's going on? Explain that a little bit better to me, please.
The NAACP, which is basically, I forgot exactly what the acronym stands for, but it's for the advancement of Black people. And so usually it's focused on like education, but they actually issued out a travel advisory saying it's unsafe for people of color to be traveling to the state of Florida.
In what way, though?
Yeah, exactly.
They
But they're
didn't
saying like
elaborate?
they're in terms of like they're saying that this is a very racist state, that they're going to be more susceptible to crime or to violence by exposing themselves to by coming to the state of Florida. The same way that we have travel advisories when it comes to traveling to different countries. Like actually, Mark, you might not know this, but our home, our mom's home of Mindanao is a like level 3 or 4 travel advisory also for terrorism. So the island of Mindanao, which we've been traveling to ever since we were children, is actually a no-go zone for travel advisories, according to the U.S. To the U.S. government, that Americans shouldn't be going to the island of Mindanao, that it's not safe. But so yes, this organization that is for the advancement of Black and colored people is saying that it is unsafe, that if you are a minority, to be traveling to Florida. When, I mean, if you look around, like, Miami isn't exactly white.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of that's a little surprising to me. I wouldn't even think anything along those lines. So, I don't know.
Well, what I understood that you have to watch for yourself everywhere. Just behave when you get into some place which is uncomfortable for you. Uh, don't get yourself in trouble. Don't be bullied, and you're gonna be safe. I travel all over the United States. I never feel unsafe.
You know, places that are unsafe, though, it's these Democrat-run cities. You have the highest crime rate coming from places like San Francisco and Chicago. Dad, you need water. San Francisco, Chicago, New York. The crime rate is crazy there, and so I think and these places are another discussion we'll go into later is about gun control. But these cities are labeled as gun free, as you know, they have the strictest gun control laws, but yet they have the highest crime rate of and incidents of violence when it comes to guns. So it's absurd to me that thanks next, the National Association for Advancement of Colored People is issuing out a travel advisory telling people that it is unsafe to be traveling to Florida if you are a person of color. I think that's absolutely insane, because Florida has such a huge diversity, and it's always been a diverse state ever since we moved here since I was 7 years old. So yeah, I don't really appreciate the NAACP saying that about my state. Yeah, Mark, how about your state?
I mean, this is my state right here. I love Florida. It's home. I've moved out of Florida multiple times, and I'm very happy to be back. It is very welcoming, and I believe it's very welcoming to everybody. It's such a large melting pot here. I mean, I won't say that like there's zero racism here. Of course, there's going to be racist anywhere you go. However, it's still a very welcoming place, and wherever you go, you'll have a rotten apple in the bunch, right? But everyone is welcome in the state, as far as I believe, it's very welcoming.
Well, I've been 30 years here. I live in another state like Colorado, Los Angeles, and I have to tell you that I love Florida. Even it's a little bit hot, humid, but this is my state now. I love it. I feel safe in this. Even if you're gonna look on my street, everybody from different countries, and we have no problem. We say hi to each other, you know. But one thing I have to tell you that everybody mind own business, so we don't have a problem with that, you know. So I have to tell you that I love Florida. Even I like Colorado and California too, but I feel the most safer in Florida.
So when I was alluding to how the crime rate and violence is through the roof when it comes to these Democrat-run cities, they also have the strictest gun control laws. I would like to highlight that today is the 1-year anniversary of the Uvalde school shooting at Robb Elementary School, where 19 children were killed and two teachers had been killed. So that sparked a lot more of the debate. We've had more school shootings since then as well. I remember the first time with my first experience with learning about school shootings was actually with Columbine, and when I had researched it, there were other school shootings prior to that. But after so I was actually in Uvalde last year during the week that the week that it happened. Actually, I had landed into San Antonio because I was making my way to Eagle Pass to be covering the end of Title 49, 49, 42, the Remain in Mexico policy, which has recently now ended like last week. So I was on my way to cover that, and they had announced that was going to be extended for another year. So that now has recently expired, and a new like Title 9, which is an actual uh, deportation code, is now in effect with the expiration of Title 42. Thanks, Nux. Title 42. And yeah, so I found myself actually in Uvalde in front of Robb Elementary School on the first day, when I even got there early enough that I saw several parents being ushered into the elementary school by police officers as well. So that was a very solemn week that I had spent interviewing some of the neighbors, and understanding what the community was then going through as the police were investigating. We could see through that week that there were a lot of failures when it came to how the police had intervened with um, securing the school, and putting the shooter down as well. So within a couple of days of that, there was also a huge NRA conference that was going on in Houston. So I traveled then to Houston to cover that protest outside of the NRA conference. Um, so I know my brother Mark is actually he's uh, I guess a gun owner. How would you like me to present that for you? Gun owner, gun supporter.
I mean, I do have guns. Do I want to say I support guns in a certain aspect? Yeah, a certain aspect. No. I mean, you can't take guns out of the hands of all the wrong people. It's impossible right now. However, I believe that there's too many guns on our soil already. So, gun laws it's there's a certain way to think about it, but you also have to be realistic about everything. Me personally, I don't like guns, but I think everyone should own a gun. I own guns. Um,
What are the importance? Like for me, I've never even fired a gun. I've been meaning to have you even teach me how to use it. Because I do think that people should know basic gun safety. And then I know that sometimes you go hunting as well, but
I don't
like
go
what?
hunting. I go shooting with my friends. We do target practice. As far as hunting, I've never done hunting.
Then it was dad that used to go hunting at out in the property before, right?
Uh, Not that much hunting. I wouldn't kill even a fly, but yeah, I was practicing shooting on my farm. You know, one thing I have to tell you that, of course, we cannot rid of it of guns in America. That's too late already. If we start controlling the, amount of guns in America, then how you feel that good people cannot have a gun, but the criminals will have anyway, you know. So good people cannot protect themselves from the criminals. That wouldn't be right, you know. But with the technology, I heard that they have a gun that the owner of the gun can shoot only from the gun. That would be great, that they would implement it, that for everybody, guns owners. So,
That would be an interesting technology
yeah.
to have.
I doubt that they're gonna. Well, I mean, I guess they could require it eventually that every gun will be like that. I don't know how much it'll cost to throw that into that, but I don't think that it's gonna become a thing unless it's like way in the future. But I could be wrong. The future ends up moving pretty quickly as well.
Yeah,
I mean, we
one
saw.
thing, one thing you, before somebody have a gun, legally gun, they should be checked psychologically. Not only that, even they don't have a record of violence, they have to own a gun, but sometimes psychologically they have to know and how to operate the gun. They have to know how to use it. There has to be certain law that they can use it only in own protection. You know, but I have a question. Why do we have in America so many crazy people, so many homeless people, so much problems with the retirees? That's been the retirees have the problems, and we cannot solve it. I mean, in my opinion, we can solve that very easy, you know. But we have to implement the system. Of course, it requires money to solve those problems, which for me, I know how to solve it, but I don't have the money.
That's a good question, Dad. I mean, you highlight the mental illness, and I think when it comes to the mass shootings that we have, especially when it comes to schools, a lot of the perpetrators. Uh, of these school shootings have severe mental illness problems. And I think that if we invested more into our country when it comes to mental health programs, that might be a better way at addressing the issues that we're having with gun violence and as it comes to school shootings. Like you said earlier, that there are too many guns in the country already. So as Mark was saying, we have to have a realistic approach when it comes to addressing the problems. And you have about I believe it's like 700 million guns that are in America. And I do feel that any kind of legislation that is for gun control, all it does is curb the ability for people who are law-abiding citizens to then not be able to access guns, because by definition of being a criminal is one that doesn't abide by the law. So is passing laws to control the access to guns going to be an actual solutions to the problems that America is facing? You have that double-edged sword, but the the concept of the Second Amendment is to be protecting, from a tyrannical government, and also like the right to defend yourself, which we see, like even with Daniel Penny's case with protecting himself and protecting others in the subway. Like that's now becoming like a prosecutable offense. They're charging him for homicide for protecting the people in the subway. And I think as people are trying to these Democrat cities and bars like trying to go after Daniel Penny for it, it tries to take away from people's ability to be defending themselves. I know, Mark, can you talk through some of the I guess gun safety that you had to go through when it comes to getting a gun legally, and what are some of the laws in Florida? I'm not familiar, but if you can describe some of them that you might know.
Well, in my experience, getting a gun in Florida is very, very simple. It's very, very easy as long as you're not a felon. Um, if we're going to be honest, if you are a felon, it's still possible for you to buy a gun, I believe, because
Legally?
no, not legally. However, in a way, we're going to say legally. So listen to this. If I want to do a private sale, say me and you don't know each other, right? As long as you show me a Florida license, you can buy, we can do a gun trade. Even if you're a felon, I don't have to do a background check on you. I don't know if they've changed that recently or whatever, but as far as I know, a couple of years ago, it's not a problem. I can legally sell you a gun if I don't know you're a felon, as long as you show me your Florida ID. Then that's possible, which is unfortunate, but that's also legal in a way. It's legal, I want to say, in a halfway. You shouldn't be, you're, if you're a felon, you're not supposed to be buying a gun. However, it's not my job to do a background check on you if I'm doing a private sale. You know what I mean? If that's changed recently in the last couple of years, I had more guns a few years ago, um, but I'm not so much of a gun person. I ended up just having a little collection at one point in my life. I still do have a firearm. However, my experience, if I wanted to get a shotgun or a rifle, I go to the store or the gun show. They're going to do a background check on me, which is going to last maybe 20 minutes to an hour. And I can leave with a rifle or a shotgun that day. If I wanted to buy a pistol, I believe it was either, I can't remember honestly if it was 24 hours I had to come back or if it was 3 days. So it's one or the other. But yeah, that's how it was. But I mean, I don't think that the gun laws are just very funny because, when you make something illegal, it only makes it harder to get for a certain market. Because I can honestly tell you, when I was like 15 years old, if I wanted to purchase a firearm from the black market, it was available. So I don't know what to say. I just remember being 15 and, hearing people like, oh, do you want to buy a gun? Do you want to buy a gun? It ended up being a stolen gun. But, like I said, you're going to, if someone wants a gun, they can get it, whether, it's legal or not, which is the unfortunate part.
Yeah, my experience with the buying rifle, I just went to Super Walmart. Uh, I like rifle. I asked him how long it will take. He says, "Oh, gonna take only 5 minutes." And really, it took only 5 minutes to check my background. And after 5 minutes, he just I paid for the rifle, and he took me outside to the parking lot with that gun, and I left. And That's I become the owner of the gun.
Oh, another thing. So I think DeSantis, what he changed the law. So is it on June 1st or July 1st that you don't that you can conceal carry, right? You can conceal carry without having to take a class or having a license. So I actually took the class. I took the class a few years ago, and see, I don't fully agree with this change because I will say I went to the class and the amount of people in there that seemed very ignorant that were about to get this concealed weapons permit. It was very rough in that class. It was kind of hard to sit through because, in a way, it was a joke. It kind of did seem, to a certain extent, there were some idiots in my class, and they were asking basically, "Oh, so when can I shoot someone?" They did. Some people in that class seemed a little trigger happy, and that's another reason why I say everyone should have a gun in Florida because especially in their house. You know, I don't say if you feel like you need to carry it around. That's a different topic. I don't carry mine on me. I don't need a concealed, but I do think that you should have one in the house. And you never know when you will need it. However, like I said, I'm not that into guns, and I don't feel that threatened. You never know if someone that you don't even know causes a situation. However, like I said earlier, I still believe Florida to an extent is pretty welcoming. So I like to think that I don't have to always keep a pistol on me, and I don't have enemies like that. But at the end of the day, Florida, in a way, Florida is still a pretty crazy state. And I mean, anywhere you go, and there's already too many guns out here in a way. So I do believe everyone should have a gun on them here.
Well,
And
Me, and Mom were having an interesting discussion about gun control the other day when we were talking about what to do if a person enters your house, breaks in and enters your house. My mom's like, "Oh, you should give a warning shot into the air," or she. My mom's like, "You should say
who is it?
who is it?"
It's
But
me. Get on the floor.
if it's a burglar coming into your house, what are your thoughts on when basically if someone like breaks into your house? Like, do you agree with Mom when she's Mom's side of it?
Unfortunately, I mean, I would try to read the situation, try to assess it. However, I mean, if I see someone coming in, they got ski mask on their face, I'm not gonna bother to ask them who is it. Um, there was that situation the other day. Someone accidentally opened the wrong door, and who was it? It was just like a kid or something that went to the wrong house, opened the door, and someone shot them. That's very
Yeah.
unfortunate. Um, I've never been in a situation where I've had to do anything like that or someone entering my property like that. So thank God. However, it would very much bother me. I would want to protect my family. And if a stranger is entering my home who's not supposed to be there, yeah, it's going to alert me. Ideally, I would not have to pull the trigger on anyone. But if someone ever came into my house and, they were armed, I could see that they got ski masks. If I could tell off rip that they're there with bad intent, I'll do what I have to do.
You defend
However,
yourself.
yes, I will 100% defend myself,
but
and my family. But hopefully, never been in anything like that. Never want to see anything like that. But you never know.
one thing what I have to mention that it's okay. You are a good guy with the rifle or a gun in the house. But what you can do if you have a crazy children, they have access to your weapons.
And they
That
shouldn't
would
have
be a
access.
problem.
They should not have
They
access.
should not have
I've heard
access.
different stories. I've even heard. I don't want to say it was in Florida per se, or it might have been Texas, but someone broke into someone's house and the kid accessed the father's firearms and he shot the intruders, and he was kind of looked at a hero, which is like unfortunate because you never know. Is either a good way or a bad way anytime someone's got a gun in their hand. You know what I mean? Like you could have a kid who steals their parents' gun, take it to school, unfortunately, and do some crazy, stupid nonsense. But you could also have a kid who gets their hold of their firearm when someone breaks in and actually defend their house. I do believe always don't keep your gun accessible to your kids. Never, even if you think you know them well enough. Um, but that's tough. I mean, like, because there have been those situations where the kids have protected the house, and there's been those situations where the kids took the gun to school and did something stupid.
That's why gun safety, though, if guns are a reality in America, so you can't have a part of the population that is unarmed and a part of the population that is armed. So it's like we've made a choice from our founding fathers that everybody is to have a gun, so or have access to a gun as citizens. So with that, we should all be having basic safety education, basically, about like how to use a gun. I mean, Mark, you saw the videos in China of the children sitting in a line just assembling the guns. They look what they were like 4 or 5 years old.
Give them a few years to let them keep training the kids like that. It's gonna be a problem for everyone else. Like, I don't know, China's smart because they're like bringing up their people a certain way to be very productive and moving forward or whatever. They got some sort of agenda. I don't know what's going on, but the way they develop their people is wild in my opinion. You know, they're robots over there. They're not like, you know, you're not allowed to have a personality. We're gonna progress this country is how I feel like they kind of push their youth.
Well, they're getting us all addicted to
Oh
TikTok and
yeah.
Reels.
They got everyone addicted to TikTok, real stupidity, all the stupid nonsense. Everyone's just fighting over ridiculous things and not anything that holds any substance, unfortunately.
When the rest of the world they want to be, not to put down being a YouTuber or anything, but they want to be influencers, and YouTubers is the main like aspiration that a lot of children have, versus when they surveyed the kids in China, they want to be like astronauts and physicists, and those are the type of ideals that they're striving for. You showed me that crazy video the other day about how they put like some sort of like mind uh,
I
sort
don't
of.
even know what to call it. It almost looks like a mind reader. They put this little thing on their head, like this, and then what? Like white means you're offline, red means you're paying attention, or whatever. However they got it, but they're able to see what level of that you're functioning on, and that's really insane to me. I mean, you're definitely robbing that kid of, you know, experiences, but you're definitely shaping him up to perform a certain kind of way.
They're making their kids into machines. I'm going to direct the conversation back though with to we'll definitely cover China more. That's a fun topic to always talk about. But with Uvalde, for instance, that was something I always questioned about with the shooter, when as we've been talking about gun access, was the Uvalde shooter had thousands of dollars of gun ammunition, and um, he had multiple weapons on him, and he was an 18-year old from a low income like family, that like he lived with his grandmother couldn't afford those type of weapons that he used. So I feel like that's still an unanswered question, is how did he even get these thousands of dollars worth of guns to have done the shooting. So I don't know the answer to that. I'm just putting that out there, that it's something that has always kind of like plagued my mind when it comes to like access. Like, how did he actually even get like that level of of ammunition and guns to be carrying out this horrific event? Um, but let's going to a a lighter, nice note, still relating to the children, guys. Let's remember that we are here fundraising for Baby Fadi. We are here fundraising for Baby Fadi to get him the eye surgery that he needs, so that way he can see the world as beautifully as the rest of us. It's a necessary surgery that because he needs it, so that way he won't lose his eyesight in the future. He's born with a deviation to one of his retinas, and this cause is called the blind eye. And if he doesn't receive the surgery, it can result in permanent loss of vision. So please help us reach our goal. Thank you for everybody uh, who has been contributing to the fundraiser. We're almost there. We're at $710 out of 1,000. It's crazy to me though to think, because initially when I was thinking about like the cost of surgeries and medical medical necessities, like here in the US it's so expensive. So when I think of just $1,000 being the cost of a person's like eyesight, like that's like crazy to me, that it's the value of your eyesight is way much more than $1,000. So like, what amount would a person like pay, whether it be 1,000 or $100,000, so that way they can have their eyesight and not be blind. So this is the goal is $1,000 that covers the surgery. So just with that amount, you'll have this 6-month-old baby will be able to have his eyesight. So please continue to be supporting fundraising for Baby Fadi. Dad, you doing okay over there?
I don't know. Something itching me in the throat. Probably frog in it. But coming back to the problems in America with the guns, uh, maybe we should learn a little bit like from another country like Japan. I don't know what they do good, but there is basically no crime in Japan. But they already in school they are raising the children more properly than we do maybe in America.
I think Japan's just discipline, 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 discipline.
Yeah,
Everyone knows honor, 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 like over there. So
yeah, maybe
that's always been their culture. You
yeah.
know?
Well,
So,
maybe we should take a little bit example from those countries which raising the children more properly in the school. That Japan is doing something.
So tell me, what do you think is wrong with the way that America's raising our kids in these public schools?
Well, I think it's not only that how we raise, but maybe has something to do also with the food what we're eating in America. We have a lot of junk food eating, and we feed the children with junk food like the soft drinks, Coke and stuff like that. I see the, uh, you know, children drinking Coca-Cola, which not supposed to be like that.
I mean, they're even changing the Skittles because they have like stuff in there that affects kids and whatever their brain. I don't remember exactly what it is, but that's what they're like. Was it Skittles?
Skittles has hydrogenated corn syrup or corn sugar, whatever it's called. But that is anything that's made of I might be butchering that word. Hydrogenated oils. It doesn't break down in fat, so it's like that gummy. So a lot of candies like Skittles, like Starburst, are made of with this type of like gumminess that doesn't break down when it's fat. So you might work out a lot, but if you got a Skittle like sweet tooth, that's really hard to like. Chocolate's way better. At least there's some health benefits when it comes to eating chocolate as opposed to any kind of like rubbery type of candy because your body doesn't break it apart. It's almost like eating plastic. And it's true though. Like one out of 4 children in New York. I'm always spitting out facts about New York, former home state for me as well. But 1 out of 4 kids in New York are obese. Did you guys know
Really?
that?
I would think they wouldn't because I would think they're just walking so much, but maybe not.
Well, one thing I have to tell you, in my experience, that when I was eating too much junk food, my brain didn't work that good, and I remember I make a lot of mistakes because of that. Now I'm more on a healthy food, and I start thinking why I did that in the past, what I did. And of course, I blame maybe eating too much junk food.
Well, another thing in America, they always have all these ingredients in our food that are banned in like every other country, which is a little awkward. I know once I moved to Europe, I mean, I grew up, I was fat. When I was growing up, I was fat. I was like 280
Were you
pounds.
like sneaking food or something? Like, how did you actually end up being fat in this household? Like, we weren't allowed to have soda.
Soda? No. Well, we were allowed to have soda. We weren't allowed to have caffeine.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
we
there
we
was
could
still
have
root
Coca-Cola.
beer and all that other stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Sprite.
eventually I remember I cut out like soda. We still had a lot of junk food in this house, and eating
And
outside at friends' houses too or whatever. I got fat when I was 17. I was like 280 pounds at one point, but luckily that was like my turning point, and I never got that big again. But my weight go up and down, up and down, up and down. But when I did move out of the country for a few years, it seemed a lot easier to lose weight. The food just completely tasted different. I lived out in Poland for 4 or 5 years, and the food just was so much more cleaner, in my opinion. But I do think that all the additives that they do add in the food in America definitely make things harder, and it's not healthy on any level for us.
especially like in Poland, you ate more direct from the farmer's food.
Right.
So it was not like here, more preserved, and in freezer, which losing the values. But if you know that what your body needs, okay, you can still find a good nutritional food in America, but you have to put more work into that. That you can
You just gotta avoid
just
that junk food. Stay away from
yeah,
that
rid of it
sugar.
of
That
the
sugar
junk
is
food.
not good for you.
That's the number one. Rid of the junk food. Start eating the better food, vegetables, fruits. Protect your body from all the diseases like cancer. If you eat a lot of broccoli or cauliflower, this is good to protect yourself from cancer. You know.
Well, lifestyle is also very different outside of the U.S. Like in Europe, I spent a significant amount of time in France, and this is a country where it's a 35-hour work week. Like weekends are sacred, evenings are sacred. It's illegal to work on the weekends, and we have these massive protests that were going on for the past like 3-4 months because Macron is trying to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64 with pension reform, and so lifestyle is very different there. But some of the things that differences I saw between a European lifestyle and an American lifestyle is they have small fridges. One thing, we have huge fridges here in the U.S. They have these tiny fridges. The eggs are outside. Vegetables and fruits are outside the fridge. Like my French friends would always yell at me whenever I would put the fruits and vegetables inside of the fridge. They're like, "Oh no, this belongs outside. What are you doing?" And even with the eggs, like I came back and I was baking a cake for my mom's birthday, and it called for room temperature eggs. And so I wanted to start baking already that night. I'm like, oh no, it's gonna take forever to get these eggs into room temperature. So I walked up to the
I would have put that in water.
I left it out, but I walked up to the lady at the store who was stocking the eggs at that moment, and I asked, "Do you have room temperature, like unrefrigerated eggs?" And she just looked at me like I was a crazy person. And she's like, "No." So you're actually not supposed to refrigerate your eggs, but if you put it in the refrigerator, then you have to continue refrigerating it. So we put everything into the fridge, and for with that, like it lasts for a long time versus in Europe when they keep everything outside of the fridge. The concept is you're supposed to be eating it right away. So you're eating your fruits and your vegetables all like super fresh, because otherwise it's going to spoil. So and also with having a small fridge, they're going to the grocery store more frequently. And not like stocking up and with all of these things that and preservatives that make our food last for weeks on end. In in Europe, it's eaten right away. So maybe because they don't have big fridges that they store everything on. But that type of lifestyle also contributes, I think, to a healthier lifestyle, like overall.
One thing I liked about Europe too, when I was living over there, it seemed like everyone you could have a tiny garden, like a tiny yard, but everyone made use of that little space and went all out with their gardens and had vertical gardens even just to have fresh food, which was pretty nice. I feel like you don't really see that in America, or even like HOAs don't permit that kind of stuff to happen in your neighborhood.
Yeah, we have a nice garden actually in our own backyard,
But
and
the backyard is different. It'd be nice if we could also use the front yard. Now you have twice the room, right?
we could have a like an
Well,
entire farm
we
here,
don't
right?
allow to use the front yard, only growing grass. But talking about eggs, yeah, I have few chickens on my own, and I love the fresh eggs. I try to feed them really, nutritional food. Like they love the grass and all kind of green stuff. Which the eggs looks little bit different than in a store. And I cannot probably eat anymore the store eggs. I feel like only eating eggs from my chickens.
I've been as I've been making mom's birthday cake, I made a lot of mistakes with baking, and then also had a lot of old fondant that I needed to toss out. So that all went to the chickens, and with that, I'm pretty sure we would be getting like peeps hatching out of the next set of eggs with all the sugar that we had fed them over the last like week.
You know, have some unhealthy eggs.
So just remember, when you want to stay healthy, eat the fresh fruit. Okay, go every day to the store, which have fresh fruits as possible. Don't keep the food in the refrigerator uh, because that's losing values. don't rely only on the vitamins or pills in a vitamins. You know, you have to get the vitamins and minerals directly from the fresh vegetable and fruits. That's why I making as much possible in a blending. You know, putting the fruits together, and I give to Tara, Marky, to ensure that they getting the nutritional value of the food your body needs.
I think another reason too that there's such a high obesity rate for people in the U.S. And stating back to New York that 1 in 4 children are obese has to do also with maybe that you have two working parents that are too busy maybe to cook for their children as well. And then so when you have both parents that are too busy to working and unable to cook for the kids are then having a lot of unhealthy food as well. So that's why it's important to have somebody that's going to be a designated cook in the family, or couples are supposed to support each other and somebody cooks when the other one's maybe working more or anything. But I think that maybe the New York lifestyle, when it was such a hustle and bustle life that everybody's so focused on their careers and too busy to cook, you're always ordering out. I think that probably contributes to the lifestyle that these children must be having. What do you think, Mark?
Wait, could you repeat that for me?
Basically, that in New York you have both parents that are busy working, so nobody's cooking,
Ah,
and with that, the
well,
kids are eating out too much.
I could definitely see that being a reason because I suffer from that same bad reason because I'm the only one who can cook for me usually. And my problem is generally I'll wait till I'm starving, right, to make some food. And that's where I'll make some bad decisions because if I like to drink a lot of caffeine, so it suppresses my appetite. However, once I get to that part where I realize I'm hungry, now I feel either too impatient or too tired or too lazy to cook. And then I start making bad decisions. I'll eat the easy, accessible food in that moment. So, one thing that's worked for me is now I start cooking. I prepare ahead of time. I'll cook at 2 p.m. so I can eat at 5 p.m. And that helps me a lot. So, I definitely can see that being one of the issues or reasons behind.
Weren't you also telling me that when it comes to like dating like another girl, you're not going to date another girl that she has to at least cook, and she has to be in the gym as well.
I
What?
would like that because I mean, like whoever you end up with is definitely going to be a huge, like it's going to be the biggest decision you ever make in your life. And generally, you know, most of the women I've dated, they don't cook, and I'll generally cook for myself and prepare for myself. However, many times when the girls I end up meeting, they don't cook, I always end up falling off track, like gym wise, eating wise, which is unfortunate, and that's almost the reason why
Budget
I've become so
wise?
picky. Yeah, I'm very picky now. I'm like, nah, if I feel like you're gonna mess up my diet, mess up my wallet, it's okay. We don't need to talk. So I'd rather make sure I'm okay. And if I'm gonna be with someone, I want to make sure that our goals are gonna line up in the future. And one of my goals is I would like to be healthy. I'm not where I want to be right now, but I'm working towards it. And if I see someone potentially derailing that, like that's gonna be a decision breaker for me. So
Yeah, absolutely. I remember you saying that yeah, next girlfriend, if she doesn't cook and she's not into the gym, she's gonna be bad on the wallet and also bad on the diet. So goals aren't gonna exactly line up there.
One thing I have to tell you, if you're single, okay, get yourself a spouse from the Oriental places because they are good cooks mostly and they cook well.
Dad's just saying that because he likes Asians.
Yeah, I like Asian people.
the average American girl these days, you know.
Oh, so what, Mark? Tell me, what is your opinion on the average American girl these days? Like, Dad's saying, like, to get a good girl, you got to go out of the country. So, what's wrong with
Well, let's
American
say
girls?
there's a lot of fours that think they 10, you know? I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I don't want to speak too much on it because I don't mean to offend anyone or mean to generalize women because, there are women that are very different. And for me, first of all, looks are definitely not everything, but you got to have that personality. However, there's a lot of girls that, that personality is really not there. Shout out to the girls that are really good and holding it down for their man. But there's a lot of girls who are not contributing, not making sure that their man is okay at the end of the day as well. You got to work as a unit, you got to work as a team, you got to build together. A lot of girls say, "Nah, you take care of me, and that's it." You know what I mean? I'm the queen. That's it. I mean, all right, cool. That's do your thing. Um, I hope you find your king. But
Have you ever dated like the girls who are like feminists?
no, I've had friends that are feminists. Have I dated a woman that's a feminist? I don't believe so. No,
Would you ever date a feminist girl?
probably not,
Why?
because she's gonna probably think that I am her. You want to talk about equal. Like to me, I think we're equal in our own ways. Like I guess I'm traditional. I don't know if that's like I hear why that's not supposed to be a good thing these days or something like that. But I think we're very unique. A man is supposed to, I don't know, do things a certain way, and a woman's supposed to. I don't want to say like because you could play different roles in the house, but you just got to work as a team. You got to make sure that your partner is okay, and you got to take care of each other, and however that works out. But it's got to be in a way fair. And to an extent, I still believe the man should give a lot more. But that woman also can't be taking advantage of you as well.
So Mark's not too plugged in when it comes to the cultural fights, culture war fights, and also what's been going on when it comes to like the whole gender roles and everything. So it's good to get this raw type of opinion from just a normal person. My brother's like just a regular normie. I'm the one who's always glued to the news, glued to listening to all my podcasts and understanding what's going on in our current culture wars. So Mark, you actually said like, oh, I hear these days it's not good to be traditional. Like,
See, that's the thing
what
with
do you mean
me.
by that?
With me, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I've been hiding under a rock for many years or something now. Because apparently, I don't know. I just came out one day and there's like 100 genders or something, right? I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Just even like I've heard like with me, I'm just always hold the door for someone, say call someone ma'am, call someone sir, whatever, and like today that's offensive to some people apparently. Like I don't know, like oh how dare you assume? I don't know. It wasn't written above your head, and I thought that was what I was supposed to do, but you know. I don't know. I try to be respectful of people's things, but I also think that it should be respectful. They're I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but
So do you think it's kind of crazy that these days, if you address somebody traditionally when you say like ma'am or sir, which is considered polite, especially like I mean Florida's not really the South, but to say ma'am and sir, uh, you're gonna get you might get yelled at these days of like don't assume my gender. I mean that's not gonna happen. I feel so much in Florida because Florida has turned into quite the red state. Oh really?
go downtown. I don't know. Yeah, like I think so. Yeah, go downtown and see how that works out for you. I don't know. Um, I don't know what to say, but I don't know. I
That would
feel
be a
like
good
when I go
experiment.
out more, I don't go out. I don't go out. I don't party. I don't do any of that stuff. However, sometimes when I go out to certain events, you know, I don't know what to say, but I
But
don't
just
know what to say.
don't say
I
ma'am
hear
sir.
different, experiences from my friends. Like I had a friend go to Starbucks and said, "Oh, good morning, ma'am," something like that to whoever was ringing them up, and that person got really offended and walked away. And he's like, "What did I do?" They're like, "Well, you called her ma'am," like some along those lines. So like, I don't know. Me and my friends, we've had these conversations, and uh, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I
Because
guess
living in clown world, everything's pretty upside down when you're trying to
all I'm
show
saying is,
respect.
people want to identify a certain way, and then what they make that the law and say because they feel that way, they're like that. But all I know is if I go to court and I identify as innocent, that might not fly. So I don't understand why the same rules don't apply. Like,
I
am
would
I
like
wrong? Like,
I would like to ask Mr. Flyer because you're looking for some kind of lady from Poland or Czech that you would make a dinner for you for exchange for a board and things like that. My advice, I don't know how are you and what situation you are, but why don't you get yourself a girl from Philippines? And the problem it is that you would have to marry her, you know. and she will take care of you. I advise you if you would look for a nurse. Okay, there is a lot of nurses in Philippines which they speak English. Okay, and
You find a
they
Filipino,
making good wives.
chances are
Filipinos,
she's a nurse.
yeah, the Filipino girls they making good wives, and you know the think when you even would bring a Filipino girl a nurse, you know she can make a good money as a nurse here, and she will take care of you good. She will, you know,
Don't get a girl from the city though. You got to get a girl from the countryside.
yeah, you have to
You
get
got to get one from the country because the girls in the city already have that big city vision and the
right,
material more
right.
so and like
Like
wanna.
the ones from Manila.
I don't know. I don't know what Manila's like. I'm just in every place. I feel like if you're more into the city, you're more like into mainstream kind of things or have those kind of dreams already instilled in your head, want more and more materialism kind of thing, consume, 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 right? You got a girl that's from the country side and whatever. She's been more focused around her family, making sure everything is done around the house. And traditional. I apologize if I'm offending anyone, but
Not this
I would
audience.
I would I'm more traditional and I would like to find more traditional women and you don't really find traditional women these days in America. So
That's true.
maybe I'll go to the Philippines one day or we'll see what happens.
But there's also a reason for that, for why why dad is saying that, oh, find yourself a good Filipino girl. The Philippines is very traditional in terms of family values and also with being caretakers. You can say like it's in our blood. Half the country is all medical workers and nurses. So chances are, if you meet a Filipino here in the States, she or even he is a nurse. So they are natural caretakers because that's something that's you have huge families. My mom's one of eight, so everybody's focused on the family unit, and then so with that being its core value in the Philippines, that's why it is more of a traditional society where uh, everything is about bringing the family up, and the focus is on that, and so you'll have those values there in the Philippines versus what is really being deteriorated here in the U.S. because a lot of even our policies that the government makes and some of the like crazy laws that we're seeing, uh, everything is becoming an attack on the basic family unit.
Yeah, I still want to answer Mr. Flyer. Yeah, that's true. The marriage requires love, okay, but of course, love can end up if you don't have a friendship in a marriage. That might be end of the marriage too, you know. So you have to look what actually the uh, girl or your future spouse can represent. You know, you don't know also just that would come and just stay inside the house because then she would get bored. That's why Philippines produce a lot of nurses. Uh, that would be the best, you know, to bring somebody with already paid, you know, and that she can get to work and she can take care of you. You know, that's my answer. Okay, I married Filipino, you know, and I'm not sorry for it. I have a good wife, you know. She really taking care of me, you know, and I taking care of her, and we have no problem. I have beautiful children from this marriage, and uh, I'm not sorry that even I'm Polish, you know, I have the tradition of Poland and involved in even in Polish politics. But with my wife, we have no problem, you know. So that's my advice. But also, you know, you have to look who you are, how you can treat the woman, you know.
Also, like when you say love, we have such a romanticized version of love these days to think that it's just about like that feeling and that emotion. I mean, that's chemicals that's running through you, and you know, if you change those chemicals, like does that change your action? And so, if you define love to be just an emotion and that experience, then you are really having a very limited definition as to what love is, because true love is going to be when it comes to responsibility for another person. That's when you are still giving the person their medication, even if you feel like you hate them for the moment. Like you actually might feel like you hate them, but you're still doing what's right by them. And then so when you take on responsibility for that person and still do what's right by them, regardless if you feel like it or not, then that's more of what true love is going to be. And also from a Catholic standpoint, that's what the teachings of John Paul II is, with love and responsibility. And so the Philippines is also a very Christian, very Catholic society. So its definition of what love is not going to be this romanticized notion that we have spread through Disney fairy tale princess and Prince Charming coming and saving us and us feeling so happy go lucky. I mean, like we have such a high divorce rate that is here in the US. And when and of course, if you're going to be putting love as the definition of your emotions and feelings, like that's going to change in its life and it throughout the course of your lifetime. So as my dad was saying, when it comes to also like friendship and commitment, I remember there's like the form of like ultimate love is it's commitment, intimacy, and what was the third one? The commitment, intimacy, and I'd have to friendship.
You know it when you find it.
Yeah, companionship. Companionship. It's companionship, intimacy.
Too.
Yeah, so those are like that is like a trifecta of that three components that form like an ultimate like love from a psychology like type standpoint. But yeah, if we have such this notion of everything being so romanticized when actually the concept of marriage is quite like, it's not that pretty all the time, but it's about like sticking with each other during it. And I don't advocate for anybody who's in an abusive relationship ever to remain in an abusive relationship. It's good that women have more of an ability to get a divorce, but where has that left our society now that that it's easy to be getting out of like a marriage and a relationship.
Mr. Flyer, yeah, love is beautiful. Okay, you can find a woman which you can love and she can love you. That would be great. Normally, in this age, it's very hard to find a, good love. That person which can share your thoughts and really,
Well,
be for you.
I think social media has really messed up how people function in relationships these days. Before, like, when you see someone before, if you ended up losing someone and they walked out of your life and you lost contact with them, no phone number, whatever, that person walked out of your life, like you weren't gonna find them again. So the thought of really losing someone too was a little rough. Now it's like, oh well, you can find every single one of your exes on social media. You can message them at a press of your button anytime you want. Yeah, so I mean, that's changed a lot, and the way people communicate, and people take everything for granted these days. That there's no morals in this world anymore, unfortunately. I don't want to say in this world, but at least what's going on in America, a lot of morality is out the window these days. I feel like.
How do you feel that like online dating and apps like Tinder, how has that changed like the dating scape? Like you could basically order up a date the same way you order up a pizza.
Well, it depends. If you're an ugly guy,
you have to be very careful. I think you might find some guy which is a Nigerian showing a beautiful girl body, and stuff like that. So I wouldn't advise you that you can really believe who you're talking online. Okay.
well, I think you can. I think he's just a little bit more old school and hasn't been on the market in a while. But like dating apps, yeah, there's some scammers out there. However, most of the people that you're seeing on those dating things, if you're socializing with them long enough, generally they are the right. They are a real person. Um, I mean, yeah, anyone can swipe. That's a new thing today. But it's all fake.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong to date online, but the problem it is finally when you take this seriously, you have to see if that's the real person what she telling you that she is.
I think a lot of people feel that people today are very replaceable. You can have someone new like that. So
Yeah, that's so true. I think that with the ease of social media and ordering up a person the same way you order up a pizza, um, e- for for people who maybe just are with somebody because they don't want to feel lonely, it's easy to hop from one relationship to the next. Uh, I guess maybe that's changed a bit though with COVID. Do you feel like
COVID
COVID
boosted
changed?
it. Everyone was in their house quarantining, trying to find a little quarantine friend. What? I bet you there were so many COVID babies made. Like I don't know what the statistics are with the birth rate, but probably 2020, a lot of people got pregnant. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
Just like in Florida, we have like hurricane babies
yeah.
from hurricane parties.
I mean, everyone got to be in their house, right? On a little company.
But yeah, I mean, dating in this day and age is quite challenging from how it used to be. It seems like
It was
you
a
know,
lot more genuine many years ago.
yeah, I
Now,
feel the same
now
way.
it's all glamorous lifestyles portrayed. Everything is amazing. My life is so amazing. Let me show you how flawless and amazing I am. Put it all on my social media, you know? And like before, it was a lot more genuine, I feel like, because, you didn't portray something. You showed yourself when you appeared, that for the most part. Like today, everyone has their page. This is who I am. This is who I'm going to portray. This is what I have. Look at my luxurious stuff. Even if it's fake, they want you to believe that because that's the image that they want you to that they want to portray and for you to have of them.
How do you feel like OnlyFans has changed? Sites like OnlyFans where a
I mean,
regular girl can go and show her parts and get paid for it. Like she doesn't actually have to be
times are
the biggest
hard.
star.
Times are hard. I understand. Were you the kind of girl I want to end up with? No, get it away.
Would you ever date
I
like
wouldn't.
would you ever date a girl or would you ever marry a girl that has an OnlyFans?
I wish I had a good girl in my life. But honestly, like I feel like the last 2 years, the only girls that are trying to talk to me are like OnlyFans girls, and I'm just like, I'm good. I want a girl with morals. I don't need that because I mean, cool. I understand times are hard. You might need money, whatever it is. I don't really care. Is that what I want? No, that's not what I want. And no, I ain't paying for your little subscription. No. And like every time they come to me, it's funny. Like I'll talk to people. People come around me. I'm a nice, friendly guy. I used to be that person that people could come to. They have problems. Come to me. I'll talk to you about it. Let's talk it out. Now I mean a lot of girls that want to vent to me, and I don't know. I've had enough crazy women in my life come to vent to me with those problems. Like I gotta get out of here. But I don't know.
You didn't meet the right girl yet, but there is one which
No,
probably you
I've
did,
had a good girl.
you know.
Unfortunately, I didn't mess it up. I just wasn't ready when the time came. Shout out to her. But um, you know,
Your girl is somewhere there, and eventually, the God gonna make you to meet her.
somewhere in the Philippines. I'm just kidding. I'll go to other countries too.
Yeah.
So Mark, you actually just went on a trip to Colombia this past
I went
weekend.
to
You've been
Cartagena. It was cool to check out one time. I'm never going back there again. It is way too hot. If the weather was more bearable, then I would probably check it out again.
Why do you keep going back
Oh,
to Colombia? Like you go like every 3 months. There's so many different places to go. Why Colombia all the time?
Because I'm very simple and I don't know, like with me, I'm very routine. If I like something, then I like something, and I kind of just stick to whatever the plan is. I don't like to go out and sightsee too much and whatever. I'm very simple. Me and my friend, we don't drink or anything like that. So, and it's nice to just get out every 3 months in a way. I don't, I'm a homebody. I don't do anything. I just try to exercise on my own, have my dog, and I just try to be in shape and eat healthy. I don't really go out and do much and whatever. So every couple months I go out with my friends and we try to go see somewhere. But Colombia, we checked out. We went to Las Vegas right before that, and yeah,
you like to travel?
me not as much as Tara. Tara goes everywhere.
Yeah, I'm a little bit mad on my daughter, I have to tell you, because I have very great project for to make America great. Probably using the Trump's words, make America great again. but I would make the America great if I would have his money, you know, because those biggest problem in America is the homeless people and retirees. They have a big problem too, and I feel sorry for those retirees who not uh, getting the life they deserve after hard work in America. So mm, my life, I retired at 70 and I'm 74 before you retire. And all the rest of my life, that's what I want to spend, find a way that I can make America great by solving the problem of homeless people and retirees people. Hopefully, Mr. Musk can talk to me, or I can talk to Mr. Musk.
Hmm.
I mean, he crashed the server earlier when he was talking to DeSantis. So I was trying to listen to that on the Twitter space, and that crashed when it first went on. So those are the homeless and the retiree problem is my dad's thoughts on what are the greatest problems in America. Mark, what do you think are the greatest problems in America?
I think that there's a lot of things that need to be changed in America, but I don't know. Maybe we could start with the laws. I don't think anyone should be in jail if for any victimless crime. We have too many people in jails and prisons that are nonviolent people. Like if there was no victim, then no one should be behind bars. If there's victims, okay, I understand. But
What are some examples of victimless crimes?
a lot of people for marijuana, drugs. If you were like even selling drugs before, and but it, what's the difference between like the government selling pills? You know, I'm against pills. I am anti-pill to the fullest, but this is just an example. You got the government that sells pills. You got the government that sells marijuana. However, if someone wanted to do that to feed their family and they didn't have a piece of paper, now all of a sudden, they get put away for a long time. If maybe they killed someone and robbed someone, took their drugs, put them away. You know what I mean? But if they were peaceful about it, and they got so many years. If they sold something that killed someone, that's a different story. Now you have a victim. But if you got someone that sold weed before or whatever, and they got in trouble for that, they don't need to be in jail. And then like unfortunately, it takes so many men out of the households. Now they're not there for their kids. You know what I mean? That's a big problem in my eyes. And now you have a cycle of that. Now you have taken out the father from the house for something like that. Now they see their mom struggling. Now maybe the kid wants to get involved into the same thing, and it's just a cycle of problems that are going on in a household. Unfortunately, that's one example.
Yeah, that actually makes me think of so Florida here we have what's called Bright Futures, which is a scholarship that is offered to if you've had at least your high school year of study here in Florida. There's a scholarship that provides to all the Florida public universities like a full ride or 75%. Those are the two types of scholarships. And I remember there was a provision in it that it was if you had even a minor minor drug arrest for like marijuana, you would lose the scholarship. And so I remember that was something that I was against too when I found about that as a provision. um, Not that I did drugs, but like the people that probably really need this scholarship, that it can change their lives, their ability to be going to school and everything, to put them in a better path, like to lose a scholarship over something that is that like minor. I thought that was not the right call for Florida.
Well, one thing what I can tell you, example on Poland, right now, 86% of the prisoners are working in Poland. Okay, so most of the prisoners are peaceful. Let's say we have educated a person goes to jail for some kind of mistake they make. They shouldn't be just like in a cells, taking care of them. They should be placed maybe even with the homeless people who they can, give them the knowledge of doing something good, and not keep them in cells. You know.
Well, I think one thing is the people who get locked up here, like there should be more of a rehabilitation in a way. People are ending up in jails and prisons, and all that ends up being is like school for becoming a bigger criminal. I feel like So
Yeah, sometimes if they have the exposure of meeting other criminals, it doesn't exactly set them in the right place. And then also when it comes to reintegrating people into society, like we have to actually have a real plan about that. So that way, when they exit the jails, they're not just put onto the streets. Otherwise, they're going to be committing another crime and ending back into the system. So there are a lot of holes in our present system that needs to be worked. Like if there's an opportunity to do creative sentencing, then that should, the judge should utilize that. Trump, this actually makes me think of how Trump had ended like a three strikes law. He and you guys here in the chat can also correct me with this stat or fact, but didn't he also like scale back the amount of arrests as it came to drugs? Like when it came to like a third time offense, like you would get like this huge sentencing if it was a third strike. Like he
I
he
believe that was in certain states. I could be incorrect. I'm not too familiar with that.
Yeah, I remember it was a three strikes law that was in effect. And actually, like Kamala Harris had arrested a lot of, because when she was prosecutor
I heard
in
about that. That
California,
was very
she,
hypocritical what she did, something like that.
exactly, when, she was all about BLM, the concept of defending like black uh, black criminals and everything, and then she even donated to the rioters. It's ironic that she was responsible for locking away a lot of offendants in California, and particularly under this like drug prosecution that it's like three strikes you, and then you have like some like crazy term that you need to serve. So Trump was responsible for like having that like repealed. Oh, a funny thing that Mr. Dog is saying is the problem with this country are that our people, they keep trying to find alternatives to family. So, when we have the concept of like fur babies and pets and dogs, do you feel that people are replacing the concept of having children with having pets?
It
I
is
remember.
very hard to have a family today. Like it is hard to like afford things today. And I mean, it's good for the people who can find it, but I feel like the average person, like people can't afford a house and put two people in a house. Like that's still hard enough for them to cover, and now they got to have a baby on top of it. And the way that people are today and the divorce rate, yeah, it scares people from that kind of thing, in my opinion.
I remember you said that because Mark has a new little puppy. He's 5 months old. He's walking around in the studio right now. Mark, you said that because we were joking about
Oh, my dad, my
dating.
dad kept telling me, he's like, "Why don't you have a girlfriend? Why don't you have a girlfriend?" I was like, "I don't want a girlfriend. I want a dog. The dog gonna be happy every time I come home. My woman ain't gonna be too happy when I come home. She gonna have problems. So, you know,
Well, one thing to have a pet like a nice dog, it will make you more healthy because you have to take him for a walk. Which walk is very healthy. And the feeling what you get to the animal, is very great. You feel more happy about it. But if you can find a good woman, that would be great. But, uh,
if you
but
have
don't
a good
forget,
woman, you're gonna have a great life because she's gonna
yeah,
motivate you to have the right things, and she's gonna make sure that you're healthy. You know, so
success of a man depends on a good woman.
and if a man fails, and there's a woman could really destroy a man.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
She can play on your nerves. Your nerves can be destroyed.
It's just like mixing two different chemicals together. It's like, yeah, this one might explode if I mix it with this one, but
That's true. So make sure before
Tell it, guys.
you marry somebody, make sure that she's a good spouse for you. That she's really taking care of you because without a good food, you're never going to be happy too. So,
Ooh, interesting. MM is saying, or MH is saying, oh, my contact's kind of blurring. Marriage tends to benefit men more. What do you guys think? Do you think that?
wait, they said what? The marriage benefits a man?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, maybe marriage. I know divorce doesn't, but I don't know.
What do you think, Dad? Do you think marriage benefits the man more?
in my case,
I
yeah.
don't think men want to get
Yeah,
married. I think
I
we just give
benefit
up
more
and surrender.
married a good woman, And I have to tell you that even our culture is different. Well, the religion is the same. I'm Catholic and Catholic, but for me, even I'm Catholic, I believe internationally more like a universal God. Okay, that God for everyone, one God for the all human beings. Deserve that. Even they think their God or my God. But in my case, I believe in one God, and I'm traditionally Catholic, and of course, since I got a good wife, it benefits me good. My wife was working as a nurse, so we could afford more to have money in our, family, and this way, my children benefit this way more than I could afford by myself.
Oh, so MH is saying happily married men make more money and live longer. So that's true, because like if you're a married man, you're more motivated to be earning more money, because you then are responsible for the household and taking care of your family. So a single man is probably less motivated. Like single men are able to like live in their car, but if you're married with children, um, chances are you're not going to be having that type of lifestyle, because you're going to be more occupied um, with raising your family and taking care of them, so you'll be more plugged into work and motivated to be earning more money. And in terms of like society too, like a community that has more married people will also experience like less crime, because people are more involved with the caretaking of their family, and they're not less likely to be engaging in criminal activity, because they'd be forward thinking more about what's going to benefit their family.
Yeah. So that's true. The family cost more money. I mean, I remember when I was in Poland on a village, bigger family, then was better because they use the children to work on the farms. That's why uh, before, especially after the war in Poland, the family who had more children, they became richer, actually. But
You get
this
more
time,
workers.
yeah, this time, like in America, of course, it's very expensive to have children. But don't forget that if you have a good children, you're going to be more happy. And if you have a good wife, of course, you're going to be more happy. But if you're going to make your life just living single, that's what you can have that kind of life.
So MH is also saying in the chat that single women are happier than married women, sadly.
I could believe that.
I could believe
I
that.
think it's a lot of people who end up in relationships and just settling or staying, and unfortunately, and that would drive anyone crazy if they're in a situation that they don't really want to stay in any longer. And people do change, so like you can meet someone and you were happy, and if somehow you changed, they changed, whatever, if it was one or the other or both of y'all, like eventually you get tired.
And, uh, and don't forget, you might work in all your life very hard. You're saving a lot, more you're putting in the bank, and then eventually the money might end up in hands where the money gonna be just wasted. When you get old, you don't have a children. Who you gonna leave them? Another thing you have to think that not having family, your hard work might end up in
Going
people
to the
hands.
state, like going to the state, if you pass away and like you don't have anybody to pass it on to, like everything that you've accumulated in your life can just go to the state if you don't have relatives.
And just remember, keeping money in a bank, the money like you have a president like Biden, you're gonna make the inflation and you're losing the money. That's what happened to my pension now. I lost a lot of money because the inflation make the money just smaller and means nothing.
It
So,
evaporated.
You're gonna have to start filling out some job applications.
I have to go back to work.
Well, somebody's got to work in this family, right?
I don't think anybody would want me to work now. Old man, anybody would hire me now. My daughter just hired me now to
Equal
sit here
opportunity
and
Yeah,
employees.
I've hired Dad as my co-host over here. All right, guys. Bringing back up our fundraiser for this evening. We are fundraising for Baby Fadi, so please be sure to help out with our fundraiser. We're fundraising for Baby Fadi's surgery, so that way he can get eye surgery to correct a deviation in his retina, which will enable him to see that if this condition is left untreated, it can result in permanent loss of vision, and then also it hinders depth development, which is your ability to see the world in 3D. So we're almost at our goal. We'll be doing another live stream on Sunday, so we can continue our fundraiser over the next couple days and be sure we hit our goal of $1,000.
hey, Stoke, I understand you probably your marriage failed because you don't want to get married again. Well, that's okay, you know. You're happy to live single. That's your life, okay? So I cannot give you a better advice than you can give yourself the advice,
If the right one comes along, you'll know.
you know.
If they don't come along, don't worry about that either. They weren't supposed to be there for
I mean, actually, when you retire, you can always go to the countries like Philippines, Thailand, and there will be a lot of girls chasing you there.
you.
I always say everything happens in God's time, so not to not you want to focus on it, but not have that be your entire life, so that way you don't become like needy.
You gotta focus on yourself, because when you're focused on other people, you're focused on the wrong thing. You focus on yourself, you become a better person, and then you're gonna attract the right people when you do it that way. You can't be all out of alignment with your goals trying to meet people, because now you're meeting people in the wrong places. But when you work on yourself and you work on your goals, then you're gonna meet like-minded people, and then you have a better chance.
But it's also about like balancing that, because I feel like a lie that our generation was sold for women at least was that to focus on career in your 20s and to put relationships aside, and the most important thing is going to be achievement and being that boss babe, which is not necessarily like true, because if your goal is to be getting married and to be having a family, you should actually focus on that with as much vigor as you focus on your career. And I think that is a lie that's been sold often to the women of our generation by a lot of these feminists. Oh, little puppies underneath here. A lie that's been sold to the women in my generation to be focusing on just career, and not to be involved with a guy and just focused on career. Sure, like if you focus on your studies when you're going through school and education and everything, but if it is one of your goals to be getting married, you should be focusing on that also with as much vigor as you focus on your career. And I think that's advice that we need to be telling other young girls who are in their teens, or in their early stages of their career, that don't put things off all the way to the end, because like how people like to deny a lot of biology these days, that's part of the lie that people are also selling. Like, yes, sure, you can have kids like in your 40s and everything, but if it is one of your goals and it is something that is going to make you happy, like don't put that as something that's on the back burner. All right, guys. Again, one more time, that we are doing a fundraiser for Baby Fadi, and we're trying to raise $1,000 to get him the necessary eye surgery. We are going to be doing another live stream on Sunday, so we can continue our fundraiser over the next couple of days. It's wonderful that we're almost there at our goal. We launched this fundraiser just this Sunday, so it's fantastic that we're already 70% there within a couple of days. And we're going to continue fundraising throughout this week, and hopefully hit the goals. So we just need $290 more before we hit that 1,000 that's necessary for him to get this surgery. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up this live stream for this evening, and continue with another live stream fundraiser on Sunday. So do you guys have any final remarks? Yo, boys.
Oh, me? I thought you was asking the audience.
Well, they can't give final remarks other than in the chat.
Well, you know what I mean. Well, I just want to say thank you for having me on your show today. Hopefully, I'll be back again and we can have another discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the Polish American Brotherhood is made up of these Polish bros that are in the room. So I'm hanging with the boys. So hopefully, we'll also have my older brother Philip join in. He makes for some interesting discussion because he is the liberal in the family. So I think that he would make a good rounded discussion to have him join on to the stream. And he's fun to fight with a little bit. So, Dad, any closing remarks?
Yeah, I would like to thank you to your friends. That was very good discussion about it, and I hope we can next live talk a little bit about problems in Europe, because the Europe is very old place, very historical, and they have since there are a lot of nation living over there, and they try to get together as a united Europe, and the conflict is bigger, especially now east of Poland in Ukraine is a big problem. I would like to discuss with you someday, how we can solve that problem over there, give them the advices, the Ukraine making good fight against that strong country like Russia, and seems like the Ukrainian winning. So I would like to discuss about more. I love to talk about history of those countries. You know, hopefully we'll see you later on.
Absolutely. Guys, thanks again for joining us this evening on the Polish American Brotherhood, where we talk about what's going on with the current culture war and then also uh, current events and politics. We are excited for 2024 election season to be coming up with Ron DeSantis today announcing that he's going to be running for president. I think that's very exciting for him to be joining into the race, though it had been like rumored and it was like I felt he was going to run. Florida had passed something that allowed for since he's the current governor, for him to be running for office for president while he's still serving as our governor. Though I would be sad to see him leave as our governor. I think he would also make a very good president. So we'll continue to cover election season and everything that's going also on the ground. You guys can follow my reporting work on Tara PoAm with on all my socials. So check out On the Ground with Tara for reporting footage from frontline conflict reporting. Again, thanks again. We are the Polish American Brotherhood.
Yeah, I have to tell you that I love both Mr. Trump and Mr. DeSantis, and wish them luck in these elections.